Hello, you noble people. My name is The Noble, and in this video, we're going to be talking about some theories of Chapter 3 and 4 that were actually correct before the actual chapters came out themselves. Now, this video is going to have spoilers, so this is going to be a warning if you have not played Chapters 3 and 4 fully. This will also include possible Weird Route stuff, so if you have not played any of that, I recommend you play the games. Obviously, you wouldn't be clicking on a video talking about theories if you haven't played it, so hopefully you won't fully stick around and get spoiled in my video. Now, the theories that we're going to be talking about in this video are actually some of the theories that I had in my crack theories video. The ones that I said would definitely not come true, that being the piles of Azrael's dust theory and the Oberon smog theory. Now, it would be lying to say that these are 100% true. These are not like they completely guessed it somehow to 100% accurately. This is mainly just some themes and ideas that these theories also got correct. Which, for the person who made them, Jaru, an amazing job to him, because a lot of people kind of made fun of them. I even made fun of them in my video, and they're kind of right. So congrats to him for actually getting some of the details, at least about some of the lore tidbits of how the Dark Worlds work and how Darkners work correct. Thumbs up to him with doing a really good job of theorizing that. Now, the main reason why we think these theories are correct is because the old man, or Gerson, is in Chapter 4, and we literally get a full-on cutscene where we get revealed that his hammer and his dust, along with a photo picture of him, the Dark World seems to have revived him. Now, it wasn't necessarily fully Oberon smog, like an anagram of Gerson boom, like I stated in my other crack theory video, and the piles of Azrael's dust necessarily isn't fully true. Like I said with the piles of Azrael's dust theory, you needed to take a big leap in logic with the case of the fact that Azrael is dead. Gerson has been stated to be dead, so there was more believability, and it kind of made sense that a Church Dark World was going to have themes around Gerson and Alvin. So it makes sense that he was going to be in Chapter 4. With Piles of Azrael's Dust, it just kind of gives us a very vague idea that if a Darkner looks like a character from the Light World, they are probably either a reincarnation or actually did get revived. So it could be possibly interesting to see this played out even more, and Jaru, like I said, hit the nail in the coffin with this one. It's really good constructed. Now, my biggest question is this going to happen if Noel were to make a Dark World, or whatever, if we do a different Dark World? Could there be a case that Rudy dies and then Rudy gets revived? It is stated that by Rouse that only very specific darkness can revive Darkners, which people do have theories in Chapter 4. The first Dark World we go to seems to be smaller. The fountain itself is actually small. It looks smaller. So people have a theory that the knight actually made the big fountain in the actual auditorium of the church, and Alvin attempted to make the fountain in the actual kind of atrium area, or the before the actual main auditorium, like the entry part, which does have some credibility for it. But it is interesting to note that these theories are kind of right. Now, I am more leaning, obviously, onto the fact that Darkners who have died could possibly be themselves again, because Gerson is literally Gerson. Rouse is not Azrael. Rouse does not act like how you think an Azrael character would, especially how Azrael acts at the end of Undertale. Then again, he is kind of a kid at the end of Undertale, so maybe this is just like an older Rouse. And Rouse goes on his own character arc, so it doesn't really make too much sense that he would be necessarily fully Azrael, especially considering that he can exist in all Dark Worlds, while the old man, or Gerson, could really only exist in 2 of them. He is at the end of the Titan fight, and obviously he's in the main part of the first part of Chapter 4. But this theory's kind of being right is pretty cool. Let's move on to the next one. The next theory we're going to talk about is kind of 100% confirmed. It's kind of up into interpretation. This is the everyone bleeds theory. This is because, obviously, we didn't really know if monsters in Deltarune actually bleed, because Susie states that, and we quite literally do get to see Susie bleed on screen. Now, the fact that we get to see her bleed on screen, I do kind of want to go to a little bit of a tangent. I had some comments that I had to remove because people were being nasty on my follow-up video where I was talking about my favorite theories, and people were calling me like idiots and not nice things, so I just deleted their comments. And I want to say a big L nerd, because we literally have Susie bleeding in this chapter, so I do want to call people out on that a little bit. I don't know why you would fight me about that. That's a weird thing to fight someone over, but whatever. The fact of it is that Susie does bleed. Now, I did say that this is not technically confirmed, which might sound weird. The idea of everyone bleeds is that the monsters in Deltarune are completely different than the monsters in Undertale. And this kind of has evidence via Susie's scrapped bleeding stuff, but we don't need to focus on that because we have actual stuff for Susie bleeding. And also the fact that Sans bleeds, and we think Sans might be from Deltarune instead of Undertale, which makes sense why he would be the only monster that actually bleeds in Undertale compared to everyone else that turns to dust. However, there is a special case. Obviously, Gerson is still dust, and it's still described that they still put their dust on objects and bury them. So we don't know if monsters can bleed, but they still turn to dust when they die. It's not really described. And this is kind of where we're going to get into some weird route territory. So if you do not want to see anything from the weird route, I do recommend you click off. I do know some people want to try and wait to do the weird route a little bit until they start looking at other stuff from the main route. So this is your spoiler warning for the weird route before I hop into that. I'm gonna have to also give another warning. This is about the animation blood. It very obviously maybe looks like a blood vessel popping or exploding out. Some people have made the comparison to a window shattering. And I do like the new imagery. I think it actually is a little bit more impactful than the rose at the baseline, so that is cool. But the fact of it is that it was always intended to be a rose, or that dot, or the dot turning into a rose. So I don't really know if we can consider this actually a part of the confirmation that everyone bleeds. It might just be Susie, which also does lead into a theory that Susie might be actually a half human. This was an actually a decently older theory, since we know that Susie doesn't really, we don't really see Susie's parents, and we do know she moved around a lot. It would make sense that maybe if there was a like tensions with her parents or something, they might move constantly. With the piano scene that we actually do get in chapter 4, it kind of seems like it was implied that a lot of people didn't like her. Now, this could be because of her attitude, but from the way that she described it, it sounded like she was just a normal kid at this point, and they still disliked her or dissented against her, which is interesting. So that's a theory that does have some credibility. I don't really know if it has as much credibility necessarily comparative to other ones, but the fact that we literally see her bleed, we know that she moves around a lot, and we don't really know where her parents are. I feel like there is some type of interpretation, especially since we know there's not another human in the hometown, at least somewhat, so that is one of the more interesting theories. But that's kind of a little bit tidbit that I just wanted to put at the end of this video. I really enjoyed making this video. I had a lot of fun with this. My next video is actually going to be about everyone connected to the night and analyzing and seeing why they would do what they do. That video might take a little while to make because it's going to be a pretty big video. I'm going to have to go do a lore playthrough, so I'm going to play through chapter 4 specifically live, and we're pretty much just going to hang around in hometown and investigate and try and get some lore clues and theorize live. So if you do want to check out me making a theory live or trying to make a video live, I definitely recommend you turn on notifications and subscribe so you won't miss that. But that's about it for this video. Stay noble. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.